Igbo core values that account for Igbo-ness doesn't lead to criminality. Laziness has no place in Igbo pre-colonial society. You must be industrious. Professor Miriam Ikejiani, when she was alive, she said, ethical leadership values, umunna values, are the things that leads to sustainable peace. Sustainable peace are accounted for by peace and by values, core values, umunna values, Igbo values. If you liberalize that all over the country, every culture has their set of values. Ndigbo well value nkefa. And well, if I na kwelu, if I na sopolo, if I na sanya, if na so anya, nsogbu amande, gina mmadụ amana anu ogu. Gina mmadụ ebili n'udo. Professor Miriam Ikejiani ọma say na abukwa na adanri.
Adanri.
Yes.
It's interesting.
Ibiara say biko ni abukwa na adanri.
You see?
N'ife anyị na-eme na enwe ka esi eme ife n'ugwu bụ nkwanye ị ga na-asọpụrụ ife bụ iwe na-asọpụrụ na anyị nwezi confusion Igboland bụ maka na values anyị dakwazili ya ugwu anyị bido kwawelu ugwu ife anyị na-asọpụrụ kwawelu ugwu ife a na-asọ anya gbali ọsọ asị na onye anọwa na ife a ga-eme ife a ime omume dị otu asị na onye a bụ mmadụ na ezigbo mmadụ ka ọ bụ ori ntọli nsị na aja a na-ịgwọ ọgwụ egbu mmadụ ife a niile ọgba ọsọ anyị need ka anyị bido mebe ọfụma na chie ife a bụ Igbo values.
Let me as a point of interest. Do you think that the culture and values of Igboland should be subject to the authority of a governor, or should the governor be subject to the authority of the culture and values of Igboland?
Okay, can I just say this?
Yes, please.
Please, neither should be the case.
Explain.
Number one, the governor was elected by the people. The governor is the voice of the people. So the governor mirrors the core values, ethics of the people who elected him. At the same time, as a mirror of the culture and ethics, he should be a model of those values and ethics. But they should not be controlled by the people as such. The only control they have over him is when he deviates. Igbo core values that account for our way of life, our tradition and our culture, that account for Igbo-ness, it doesn't lead to criminality.
Good.
It's pure. It has integrity. That's what Monsignor Bioriko calls the integrity of our cultural morality. But once you deviate from the integrity of our moral foundation, you go into criminality.
It's very important that when public officers act, clarity must follow it, right? The viciousness with which young people who are misguided, right, storm into sacred places and do things that are outrageous.
Okite.
All those ridiculous names.
That's right.
That they call it. And because there's a huge distortion, social distortion.
That's right.
In which people come and say things like, Mawoke is now ego. Money is Mawoke. Ibute ego bu.
Ibu mado.
So all those things they give them brand names that tend to distort the value.
You know, one of the fundamental reasons why I came to this program is because Ndigbo Viva is out for cultural clarity.
Yes.
To give the primordial, primitive, and authentic picture, profile of Igbo culture that account for greatness. We have Igbo people that our pure values molded their personalities. Chimamanda, she was there to University of Nigeria. We were there together. Yes, and Okojiwala and other great people. I want those Igbo communal pure values mold your personality. You'll be a great person all over the world. So Igbos in diaspora are doing very well. And those who, if you take those Igbo values, we are hardworking. We are communal minded. Onwere onye Igbo ga-abata ọ na-anara enyelu obodo ọ batala aka. Ị na-anya onye Igbo bịa ọ na-alụ ụlọ akwụkwọ, ọ na-alụ ụlọ ọgwụ, ọ na-enyelu ndị mmadụ aka. Onye etinye ego na-azụ ndị mmadụ. Onye Igbo from obodo ọzọ bịa obodo ọzọ, or Yoruba land ka ọ bịa obodo oyibo ebe ọ bụla ọ nọ.
Wherever he is.
So ndị Igbo Viva is doing this, and I want Ndigbo Viva to be more aggressive, so that people know that this is our culture.
Yes,
this is Igbo culture. And those people are deviators.
Yes, and that is why it is important to us to interrogate everything.
including
right?
with our governors.
Yes, everybody.
Those in government, those in the private sector.
Yeah, those in
that
the
they should
private
be sponsoring.
Yes.
You should partner with Ndigbo Viva.
Well, they may not really necessarily partner with Ndigbo Viva. It will be nice for them to do, but it will be more important that they partner with the development of culture in their place, that they invest their resources in their umunna. For example, if you go to an umunna meeting and every professor, every doctor, every engineer, every public servant, every former governor, every former senator is sitting in the umunna meeting.
Because the umunna is the vehicle for democratic management of the society, Igbo society before the white man came.
He said, Prof. Ikejiani will tell you, Nyabu Wanri, Nyaba Danri.
Dr. Okonji Wala says, Nyabu Nwafo Igbo. Chimamanda said, Nyabu Nwafo Igbo. Muwane Ekukwe Abu Nwafo Igbo.
Good. So those concepts, those Nwafo Igbo, Nibu Nwanri, Nibu Nwafo Igbo, Nibu Nwaro, Ndi Aros Nafabo Okiigbo, Okiigbo.
Whatever phrase.
So those phrases must crystallize in some institutions that the young people will see that carry this whatever it is, these values, these concepts, these significance across time, not reduced to the qualms and caprices of individuals at their temperamental moments, right? That needs to be, developed. And, I think that when I look at your work in the university, this lecture series, which really fascinated me. So, tell me about that.
Now, the entire thing revolves around individuals capturing and reflecting values. You can't capture and reflect values of the Igboland, of your institution, of your society, if you are not transformed by those values.
Okay, so the individual transformation is key.
It's central. It's fundamental. Once the individual accepts, integrates, and reflects the values of his society, for example, Igbo values, the individual will now become a person in community, a person in umunna, obulo okulora, umunna. Then he can contribute to the betterment, the development of society, because you cannot give what you don't have. The essence of the entire thing on ethical leadership, it starts at the individual level. And before you come to any institution, every organization, you must buy into the value, the core values of the founder of the organization, the founder of the company. If you come into a company founded by an individual, that's what we call onboarding process. The individual will bring you aboard and tell you these are the values I respect. These are the vision, because there's a strategic statement, the vision, mission, the strategic program, the way that guy wants to run that company. You must buy into it. If you don't buy into that, the onboarding process is a failure. The same thing with institution. That's what we call personality building. People take on values. You come to an institution like a university. Before you came in there, for example, a student, you have what you call family baggage of values or vices, in which you will reflect. You are a carbon copy of the way,
that baggage,
the tragedy of or failure of your parents not being able to succeed in bringing you up. So you come with that baggage of vices. And what the university does in ethical orientation for the student or a new staff that is employed by the university is to say, please drop this, this is what is acceptable here. Our founding fathers, these are the things they respect. For example, Zeke said for University of Nigeria to restore the dignity of man. As a student and a staff, you must be part of that restoration process. It's part of the onboarding process. Now, institution building becomes a failure if individuals fail to accept, integrate, and reorient their mindset. It's a mindset thing. If your mindset doesn't accept the values and start living that way, there's no transformation. You become like Ajomo, and then any moment you are going to commit, and the institution will drop you. So institution building is an individual thing. It's a management thing. Everybody who are from vice chancellor to management staff and staff, everybody, academic and non-academic, must buy into accepting core values as ethical leadership.
Okay, so what is the process our forefathers in Igboland? What is the embodied
They process? Had what you call
what is the embodied
initiatory processes.
Good.
In pre-colonial Igboland, in what you call African communal Igboland, Our values about ascension into values, accession into values, initiation into values. From age to age, if you come into it, you reach a certain level.
You get initiated to the next level.
You must be initiated into the next level, and they will tell you the values that are respected
for that level.
For that level.
So the embodying, our traditional society has processes of embodying values and moving people from layer to layer.
It was well defined.
Fantastic.
Laziness has no place in Igbo pre-colonial society. You must be industrious. In entrepreneurial spirit is part of the Igbo spirit.
Contribution.
There must be something you are giving to the society.
Yes, and so the age grade system may be a process.
It's part of that. Yes, initiation into the values of Igbo society of Omonna.
The first step, the first initiation that is critical for development. I understand that there are some scholars who have said to me, and there are some people that I've interacted with in the effort of finding, trying to entrench Igbo culture, that the first step for anybody, for you to be able to move forward into embodying your Igbo values, it begins with finding your chi. Do you have any information on that?
Well, if you look at, if you come into the Christian law, L-O-R-E, not L-O-W, the Holy Spirit decided to come and reside in man. The Spirit of God in man is the chi of man. Ezebube, the supreme being. When an individual captures the almightiness of God, and he begins to mirror the values of the almightiness of God, Obuluchia.
How did the Igbo society, because what is fundamental in this conversation with you,
yes,
is that you have said that if you do not embody the values
exactly
of your society, you cannot reflect those values.
Yes.
You cannot.
You can't be a great success.
You cannot be a success.
You are not acceptable.
You are not acceptable.
Yes, even before God.
Yes, so now, before Christianity came, did our forefathers create a process through which individuals embody these values? For example, now, when students come into the university, you have an initiation. Show them around the university and tell them the values of the university. At which point does the Igbo society take up an Igbo child and say, okay, come, welcome. You are no longer a child now. Yeah? Now, this is the embodiment you have to take. This is the steps you have to take to embody the best of this our culture. Do we have that?
Yeah, of course. Pre-puberty initiations. And,
so what are the elements?
And cycles.
What are the elements? Is this something you can remember now or something we can talk about another time?
No. It's very clear. For example, the masquerade culture is one of the initiatory programs.
Yeah, but before you
within
get to
our culture,
before you get to the masquerade stage, there is a time. For example, in our own culture, when you come into the Umunna, and the logo etoto Umunna, and the logo Enwine. Onwoge after say that okay, that you so go no to. That is, you are now
after initiation, as a youth,
that you are no longer
after puberty. You cannot be made part of the contributing age until there's an puberty initiation.
Good. So after all those things, but there is this concept of Made Maluchia.
Yeah, in some societies.
Okay, so
in
Igboland. So
we are one madam, a judge.
Okay.
Kedebo Sibiowa. Kedifo Bialeme. Kedu ka Owede. And but from those periods, the people, you don't go to people who don't know. You go to those who are culturally aware, authoritative, who know how to go into the supernatural world to find out how a child came into the reincarnationary experience, how he or she reincarnated. Onye ka Obialowa. Kedifo Bialeme. They will find out and so then they address from day one and address it. And on a bidona fan I go watakele. He got go I go watakele anyhow. And when the na fuzo I got one. If I so no men an Igbo, I bet then watakele I see okay, there address. No no abukwa hey no kwan as a cobo. Otu esi mee nke Jizọs The maggots, the three maggots.
Okay.
And they
So
came.
it's a similar culture.
And they can now see there's a correspondence between Jewish traditional religion and Igbo traditional religion. The three maggots came. They saw beforehand. Ndị na-afụ ụzọ, prophets. Na Jesus Christ na onye aka emife dị otu a. Otu a ka a na-emekwa n'Igboland. Amụọ nwa, ife isisi a na-eme ekulu nwa a. Ejeju ese. Kedu ife nwa abịala ime? Onye ka ọ bịala ụwa? Kedu ebe ọ ga-eje? Kedu ife ike ọ ga-akpa? Amala ife a niile. Agwa ka eji wee sị na ife na mgbe a mụrụ Ojukwu na ajụkwala ese. Na asị na ọ ga-echenji ụwa. Chukwu emeka odumegwu Ojukwu. So ka i wee fụ na onwe ife a niile na-eme, ọ dị well detailed.
Okay. So
what we are trying to avoid is the corruption.
You can't do. Igbos nowadays, our forefathers say you cannot do because they are killing people in the fight. Then you will not have the fight. So corruption is something that is there in every phase of life, right? But we cannot do because we are afraid of corruption and not address our fundamentals. Because that is why we are here now. We must address our fundamentals. And
the solution is in ethical leadership.
Yes. So
that's why we are talking about this, what we are doing now.
Lecture. So that is why I'm asking you. In the current milieu, in which you find that, okay, people give birth to kids now, Igbo children. They give them names without all those processes. Do you think that we have, what is happening to our young people, is it not adult delinquency instead of... Instead of youth delinquency, because we talk about the youth delinquency, that these young people that are creating problems. Have we as elders gone to do what our forefathers did for us as growing up? What our forefathers did for us? Are we doing this for our own children? Are we going back to sit down and know that our forefathers who instituted this place we are staying here for more than 6,000 years, unconquered space?
Well, there is what you call Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Yes, which came in 1948.
Rights to religious expression, freedom of conscience.
No. That thing came in 1948. That thing came 1948. 1948.
I know.
After they have killed 80 million people. But the Igbos in 900 AD had these principles.
Yeah, but the world is evolutionary.
The world
evolves. So the thing there is that you don't force people. There are people who are predisposed to pick a different way of expressing their religious conscience.
Okay. Is this religion now or values?
Yeah. Your beliefs lead to values. Your beliefs lead to values.
Prof, what I'm dealing with here is we have an omuna.
Yes.
We have a traditional process, right? And I'm asking you, within our own traditional process,
yes,
right? Well, how do we embed the values of Igbo people in an Igbo child?
Bring them into curriculum. UNESCO supports that. It's called heritage management. It's called heritage management.
Heritage management.
Exactly. Pick the pure values, cultural values of your people. And one of the best vehicles of transmitting these values is language. Asusu Igbo. But here, put it in the curriculum and then teach it to Igbo children.
Yes.
All over the institution where they are.
That is why I'm
Yorubas do it. So we should bring it into the curriculum. Language is part of intangible cultural heritage of Ndigbo. We have tangible heritage like shrines and other places of worship and festival centers, artifacts, museums, sociological studies. But the language of personal transformation is the language of culture. And the language of culture is the language of values, cultural values. So the best way to transmit our cultural values is to teach our children Igbo cultural values without any corruption.
Good.
And that's why we're talking about those deviations people are doing.
Yeah, because
we have pure values.
Yeah, because those people, there are certain consequences that come. That even when people want to deviate, there's something that is in the environment that makes it even difficult for people to deviate. If the environment is generally weakened, if the custodians,
that should be one of the. That's why Ndigbo Viva should partner with ethical leadership, culture, and sustainable development of the University of Nigeria.
Yes.
So that everywhere with the attitude of African study, we can bring this thing on board on curriculum. We create an environment for respect, collective respect for Igbo values. Everywhere, not just in Nigeria, in the diaspora. A lot of people take their children out of the country. Some they lose the adoptive capacity and ability to speak Igbo. They don't know our values. That's what Chimamanda talked about when she came to the university. She talked about the way we shorten and abbreviate Igbo names. Chinonso, so. Yeah, Ife Yunwa, Fifi.
And then after a while, they lose the entire.
And they don't know the meaning of even their names. Why are you abbreviating those things? Why are you making, shortening it, to anglicize it? There's no point. Why don't you bring these things back? Igbo, Afi Igbo, that's not a pianisi. Makonwelo, Afi Igbo, values.
Yes, and it has an embodiment it gives to that person.
So it reverberates. It awakens their consciousness on a daily basis.
Yes. And if it is done...
Akachuku, the hand of God. Chukwunonyelum, that's my own name.
Yes, God
is with me.
Yes.
I pray with my wife and our children with our names.
Yes.
So when you guys say no, which one be no?
Yeah.
Or Akachuku Ake. Chukwu Emeka Emi. Kedu Emi, and even got them all over the world. They abbreviate this, anglicize it, and shorten it. We should go back to our roots.
Yes, it's beautiful.
And by capturing Igbo names.
Yes.
Give Igbo names to your children.
Yeah.
No matter the part of the world where you are.
Yes.
Those Igbo names capture the values of Igboland.
Yes.
Of Umonna. Ndebanye. Ezebube. That's one of the least ways to go back to our roots.
Yes.
And then the next thing is that whatever you are doing, invest back in Igboland. That's why I'm happy with Ndigbo Fever. Go back to our roots, invest in Igboland, and build solidarity of Ndigbo everywhere.
Yes. Solidarity with self, solidarity with family, solidarity with community.
And then, let me tell you.
Solidarity with neighbors too.
This thing, Ndigbo were cultural solidarity with other cultures.
Yes.
But you cannot build effective, successful solidarity with other cultures if you are not well solidified and consolidated
in your own culture.
In the integrity of your own culture and the values of your culture.
Yes.
You cannot lead. You cannot lead when you fail in that. It will just be deviation. Ndokite, and all those rubbish.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
The best way to relate to other parts of the world is to be fully flowing in the integrity of your own Igbo-ness, your Igbo culture. Go back to your roots. Yes. Then you will have the emulsifications, the beauty and the power to flow with other cultures. Because the whole world talks about inclusivity, cultural inclusivity and diversity. Yes. And then the next thing, when you make money, don't stay outside the country. Or any other part of Nigeria, go back to Igboland. And then let's start rebuilding our consciousness of our pristine Igbo cultural values.
There's something quite edifying. There's something quite humbling when you actually submit yourself to the Igbo environment. So you were asking, Akachuku, why did I even start doing this thing? After running for governor 2 times, running for Senate, getting face-to-face with values that are not governance values, encountering frustrations, I almost left. Then I decided, to go back to my village and stay there with my mom. So I stayed 3 years in my village. And within those 3 years, I found out that there are amazing qualities that I've lost sight of. I couldn't connect with. And I felt so down that I said, I'm going to dedicate the remaining part of my life to digging up these values and making sure that younger people do not have the experience I've had. So it's very enriching to come back home to be part of it. Now, that takes me to ethical values and society. And I can see that you have this journal.
Yeah, Nigerian Intellectual Property Journal.
This journal, which you are the editor.
Yes.
You know, and you also have this. There's some work you did with this guy.
Yeah, Tajuddin.
Toyin.
Yeah.
You know, this ethical dilemma.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And there's some work you did with this group with regard to the Nigerian Federation.
Yes.
Can you touch upon these two things for me?
There's something I wanted to talk about. I wanted us to look at the tragedy of unpreparedness. Because I heard you talked about when you went for governorship. You were prepared. You had exposure. You had experience.
Yes.
But the tragedy of current governance and politicking in Nigeria, not just Igboland, but it's more pronounced in Igboland. You have the tragedy of unprepared people who lack values, people who had no exposure, no experience of being in public office or knowing anything about public office or private sector management. And they suddenly find themselves in governance because of political interest. And once they come there, their performance is a disappointment. Igbo values, ndị na-akpọ dike bụ ndị a na-akwado akwado. Dike na-akwado akwado before jebe ọgụ. Ndị a na-agbọpụta jee nụọ ọgụ. Going to public office should be something that you should be prepared for. Yes. And what is the mode of preparation? Values. You should be well integrated, well grounded. You should be a transformed personality. Yes. Good character. Mm-hmm. That's why I said in my upcoming, in my inaugural lecture, this thing, sustainable character development is the secret, the key. You know, to ethical leadership and sustainable development in Nigeria. People come into government without preparation. Ndigbo na-akwado akwado. So what I'm saying in essence, ethical leadership should prepare our youth for the tomorrow. Our youth should be grounded on Igbo values, Igbo core values, the values of ụmụnna. If onye ụmụnna kwadolo, inanyelo ndị ibe ya ndị obodo ya aka. Have you been working with your people? Where are you coming from? Where are you going? You cannot give what you don't have. Yes. The only thing you can give as a transformed person in politics are the values that are well accepted to you. Yes. You've internalized, you've embodied, that are embedded in you. Yes. And when you come, there will be a difference. Mm-hmm. So what we are doing here, Tajuddin Toyin is a member of the Nigerian Civil Society group. Yeah, and we are the same civil society, ethics and values. Okay. We have sponsored a bill on ethics and values. So these are people from different cultural arenas, groups coming in together to promote ethics and values in leadership. Because a leader who doesn't have ethics and values is a failure. Yes. So it explains what we are doing at the University of Nigeria. Ethical Leadership, Culture and Sustainable Development Lecture Series. We want to start picking models of leadership.
This one.
Exactly. Models of cultural transparency. Models of sustainable development experience, both in the private sector and the public sector. Yes. And we want to showcase them. Come and tell us the values you have internalized that are accounted for your success. If you are not a success in the private and the public sector, what is your business in governance? Yes. You will not give good governance. You will be a tragedy. As a man, if you know, you understand? Sure. For you to have the kind of patience you have, you dropped all your public exposure, everything, appointments, and you came and you started this to ebulliently project Ndigbo, our Igbo-ness, our core values to the whole world. And with people, because I know people will be envying you. And you came, you stood your ground. And so today it's becoming a success. This should be an African Studies Center. Ndigbo Viva African Studies Center. Universities should start partnering with you. You understand? To promote the vision, the mission, and the program plan you have for Ndigbo Viva. And this is what we are talking about. Onye aboye Yoruba, obialo, simunna, the ifa neme no sokia. So kai wete for the ethical dilemma.
Yes.
That Nigeria need those ethnics.
Yes.
That we need
ethical
core values.
Core values.
And that's what we are talking about now, because Section 14(2)(b) of the Nigerian Constitution says that the security and welfare of the people shall be a primary purpose of government. This is a purpose, is ethical value given to those in government by the Constitution of Nigeria. How many people have taken it up?
They betrayed it now.
They betrayed it.
Yes.
They betrayed it. People go for their pockets.
And for us Igbos, the betrayal is enormous.
It's excessive.
Yes.
It's excessive.
It looks like there is no ethical inclusion at all.
It's very unfortunate. There's a lack of democratic principles in governance.
Yes.
Because umunna principles are democratic principles. These things, there's something that Monsignor Obiorike talked about. The social conscience of umunna. That makes it possible, that restrains people from greed. The social conscience of umunna. That makes people to go for the right thing. To consult with the people. To promote the welfare of the people. And to do what will benefit the common good. And then when you look at it, people are not schooled in the social conscience values and ethics. They lack ethical leadership. And they come into governance. They're a disaster. Okay, look at what is happening with civil servants. From the federation to the state. Somebody will come with a wonderful vision of what he wants to do for the state. He will be voted in. Or he will be rigged in. Whatever.
Once it's rigged in,
it's not my business.
No.
Let's not talk about that one.
Okay.
He comes into power. The success of an administration's vision depends on the preparedness and competence of the civil service. Our civil service lack values. They lack competence. They don't have ethics. That's what we call public service ethics. You cannot work on, implement, execute somebody's vision as governor if the civil servants are bereft of values and ethics. It will be greed, PLC. There's a lack of character. It will not take long. They will destroy that governor's vision. And it becomes another sad story. And I be a sequence, Okwa Ndigbo na-eme ife. Okwa Ndigbo. Famakwa values Ndigbo. Famakwa ife bụ ụmụnna. Okwa nwele ụmụnna veba si wepụta. Okwa mana before anọ mmadụ, a ga-asị onye bụ nna ya. Before anọ nwaanyị na Igbo. Before onye pụta na gọọmenti, a ga-asị onye esi ebe. Kedu ebe o si na Igbo? Kedu ebe o si? Kedu ndị mụrụ ya nụ? Mana imebe ọfụma, asị na ọkwado kafa si eme. Ọkwụ na onye Igbo ka ọ bụ. Ngozi oke onye ọbụla na-claims Ngozi oke jewala. Ma Chimamanda. So many of us, you understand, our values. We need to go back to those Igbo communal values.
Okay, let me ask you something. You know, in the search for establishing the ethical standards of the Igbo people, what is I don't know if you have come upon it, maybe you have not researched it, within our culture, what is the mechanism our forefathers have for maintaining public decorum?
Sanctions. If you violate the purity and the integrity of Igbo values, our Igbo-ness, and you also. When you come to a society, a community, and you begin to promote the values of the society, to promote people, you are people-oriented. Yes. You care for the welfare of others. Yes. You are charitable. Yes. You do good things. Yes. God himself, Chukwunonyelum ndị mmụọ nsọ ga-ebugo ya enu ị na-aga n'iru ime ife na-adịrọ mmanụ ga-achụ ọsọ a na-akpụ ya nsọ anyị. Any violation of the integrity and the egregor of our Igbo-ness and our values, ndị mmụọ ga-achụba ya ọsọ.
Okay, but I have a friend who tells me that, you see, na ịjụ mmụọ ajụghị na mmụọ niile ahụ ndị nna nna anyị ha dobe that are able to now activate those spiritual principles and wake ịchụ ọsọ, all those things. What do you think that within our cultural milieu today, that we maintain the fundamental dynamics of keeping those values active so that they can continue to function in the mode that we assume? Because if you're not today, then you now see some people who come around doing negative things and appear to be thriving. It's a point of conflict, right? In terms of value systems, which goes counter to those fundamentals. Now, when you see young people looking at it, what is the dilemma? The ethical dilemma?
Yeah, that's what we are saying. I think people who are gatekeepers
Yes.
of values
Yes.
and the public space. Everybody who still maintain integrity of our cultural ethics and values.
Yes.
It is our responsibility to change the narrative. We should change the narrative. The future doesn't belong to those who violate. They say the evil people.
I like that.
They could be doing well for the time being,
Yes.
but they don't last long.
Yes. The future belongs to those who are righteous.
Who are righteous, who go believe in the core values
Yes. And the
of
future.
Umunna. The testimony is wonderful. Is spread all over in Igboland.
Yes.
You come to communities like if you come to Ezeago or Udi, my place, Obelago Mana, you will find one or two places they said that this man was an evil man.
Yeah.
He was doing this. One day he just
passed on.
And the children passed on.
Yeah.
This thing happened to the child and all those things.
So, as part of the duty of Ndigbo Viva,
exactly,
to find out these histories,
yes,
and make them public,
and bring it in the public space so that people know that evil doesn't pay.
Yes.
Deviations from our core values, the purity and the integrity of our core values, they don't pay.
Yes.
That the future belongs to the righteous people.
Yes.
Because God says He's a righteous God. Part of your revival, your exploratory system, the discover is to discover what is the purity of Igbo religion.
Yes.
That reflect the values of God, of Ndigbo, of God.
Ndigbo.
Exactly. Because every life is a life of covenant.
Yes.
A covenant.
Yes. Very important.
Chukwu boy, ime ezigbo ife, Chukwu ga-ebugo ya enu. O ga-edunye ya n'aka ndị ezigbo mmadụ. Ịma mfunata ajọ ife. Ị ga na-eme ọfụma. Ụmụ ị ga na-eme ọfụma. Ụmụ ị ga na-eme ọfụma. All covenant ka ọ bụ. And the Igbo believe in it.
Yes.
Igbo believe in it.
It is something that every morning.
Exactly.
Every morning
you should pray on that.
When you pick up the kola nut, you enter into covenant.
No, you refresh the covenant. You don't enter. You refresh the covenant. Not like somebody comes to pray and said, yes, I'm under the covenant of the blood of Jesus.
Yeah.
And they mmadụ na Igbo a na-ekpe ọsọ ibiko Chukwu biko gị chebekwa ya na abịagokwa ndị na-eme ife na ndị ajọ mmadụ afụkwana ụmụaka na fapụbata.
Yes. Well, I think, Prof, just like you say, we can't exhaust everything today. You have been an unbelievable guest. And I appreciate your presence. I thank you for being here with us and being part of us. So I thank you very much, Prof. It's amazing to have you. May God be your strength.
Amen.
The key takeaways. My dear viewers, our conversations with Professor Ani has yielded the following key takeaways. 1. The traditional Igbo society was built on clear and very strong values, both for personal successes and effective leadership of the society. The pre-colonial Igbo society preserved and transmitted these values to new members of the Igbo society through well-developed and age-aligned initiation processes for ascending into values. Professor Ani tells us that the Igbo society is a society that prepares her members for any role that they must play in the society. No one in Igboland can be admitted into a role for which the person has not been prepared to play. He points out that one of the ways to guarantee the accurate and effective transfer of these values to subsequent generations is through the promotion of Igbo language and the reawakening of the initiation processes through which the Igbo society onboards her members into levels of societal values. Now that we have seen the key takeaways, I invite you to go to the comment section and tell me what you feel about these takeaways and any other thing you picked out of our conversations with Professor Ani. You may also have questions you want him to answer. And if you want him to come back to the channel for further conversations, tell us. If you know any prominent person you would like us to bring to the channel, send us the person's name and the contact. Finally, please check and be sure you have subscribed and clicked the notification bell. Subscription is free and takes a few seconds. It is your way of helping us to continue to do this work. Many thanks for supporting our channel. See you in the next episode.